What do you usually imagine when you think of the Bahamas? Probably loads of sunshine, beaches, resorts, and overall relaxation. Well, in the early 1970s, this mostly peaceful nation was rocked by the gruesome murders of 3 American tourists. Ironically, the killer wasn't from the Bahamas either. Welcome to History's Biggest Villains. James Michael Schaffner was born in 1954 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He lived with his mother, Juanita Spencer, who was a cleaner at a local school. James contracted a viral infection when he was 2 that resulted in permanent brain damage. He spent time in various reform schools due to petty crimes, and according to his mother, he was an aggressive and streetwise teenager. As James grew into adolescence, he worked as a handyman, with dreams of becoming a songwriter. In November 1973, 19-year-old James moved to the Bahamas, becoming a vagrant and changing his name to Michaiah Shobek. On December 5, 1973, 50-year-old attorney Paul Howell of Massillon, Ohio, was attending the Ohio Bar Association convention in Nassau. As he returned to his hotel room later that night, he heard a knock at the door. As he answered, he was fatally stabbed in the chest and throat. The police believed that he may have surprised burglars, and his body was sent back to Ohio for funeral preparations on the 9th. On January 18, 1974, 44-year-old accountant Erwin Bernstein from Ocean City, New Jersey had arrived in Nassau from Miami by an Air Bahamas flight the day before. Shobek spotted him and offered him a ride. As they drove away from the airport, Shobek faked a sexual interest in Bernstein to distract him from the fact that they weren't going back to the hotel. Shobek stopped the car and pulled out a knife as Bernstein opened the door trying to escape, but Michaiah caught up with him and stabbed him to death. An employee of the Ministry of Fisheries discovered his naked body at Yamacraw Beach the next day, only wearing socks and shoes. There was a pen and a pair of Michaiah's sunglasses found next to the body. Police also found a black bag 8 miles away in Paradise Island containing some of Bernstein's papers and Michaiah's driver's license. You just want to be caught, don't you? On January 25th, 17-year-old high school student Katie Smith from Detroit was on a chaperone trip to the Bahamas with other students. She was seen walking with Shobek, and the next day she was murdered. Her body was found in a ditch covered by a cardboard box. She had been strangled. Michaiah was quickly caught after Katie Smith's murder. Police found a pen and a pencil belonging to Bernstein in his possession. Michaiah, only 19 at the time of his arrest, also admitted to the murders of Bernstein and Howell, saying that God spoke to him, telling him to kill them, as they were angels of Lucifer. Magistrate Wilson Hercules scheduled his preliminary hearing for February 18, 1974. On that day, the hearing had to be postponed as the police involved in the case were called away to respond to a bank robbery in progress. The Bahamian courts decided to only hold 1 murder trial, that for the killing of Bernstein, instead of all 3, as the prosecution only needed 1 first-degree murder conviction to keep Shobek in prison for good. Shobek and his lawyer Randolph Fawkes were trying to make a plea for insanity. Shobek volunteered to read his disturbing poetry to the jury. He testified that he destroyed an American tourist because he was an angel of the devil. Shobek took the stand for 2 hours on the 3rd day of the trial, telling the jury that he was directed by God to kill Erwin Bernstein. He continued to read, stating that he had witnessed 2 murders. Michaiah pleaded innocent to the murders of Katie Smith and Paul Howell. Wow. The court allowed a police statement from Shobek into evidence, where he said that he robbed Bernstein of between $300 to $400 and stabbed him to death since Erwin could identify him. If I didn't destroy the man, I would be setting myself up for reproof for punishment, he said. Shobek testified that he gave Erwin a ride from the Nassau airport, making sexual advances toward him to distract him from realizing that they weren't going back to his hotel. I took my weapon of war when Bernstein opened the door to get out, he said. After playing with it for a while, I fell on the angel of death and destroyed him. Destroying is beautiful when it's done in the right respect. Weapon of war is nuts. Evidence in the trial also revealed that Michaiah had been traveling back and forth between the U.S. and the Bahamas for 2 years. Were there possibly other murders that he could have committed? At that point, none of that mattered, as in May 1974, Shobek was sentenced to death by hanging for the murder of Erwin Bernstein. His death was scheduled for October 8th, 1975, but his mother Juanita, along with a team of American lawyers, won a last-minute stay of execution. Darrell Rowe, the Bahamian Minister of Home Affairs, granted the reprieve as the appeal stated that important information hadn't been heard by the court that ruled against a life sentence, thus making the death penalty automatic. Shobek's lawyer at the hearing withdrew evidence of insanity as the court ruled it contained several errors. Michaiah's mother stated that her son was mentally ill due to a viral infection he suffered as a toddler. "My boy needs care. He wasn't right in the head. It started before he left here." According to her, he went to the Bahamas in November 1973 to bum around. "I'd like to get another stay because he was never represented right the first time." After they got the confession, the attorney was telling him how to act because all they would do was send him to the United States. He believed that. By October 1976, all of Shobek's appeals were exhausted. "We are not like the U.S., the Bahamian government spokesperson Cyril Stevenson said to the papers. "You would have said Shobek was a lunatic and put him in an asylum and let him out in 6 months to kill some other people." I mean, he's not lying. After 29 months on death row, Michaiah was led to the gallows on Tuesday, October 19, 1976, where it was said that he refused a priest's counsel the day before. His death sentence was carried out. He was 22 years old. The fact that he was so young when he did all this, and the fact that his mother is just saying that, oh, he wasn't represented right, and oh, he wasn't right in the head. My thing is, why are you not getting help for your son if he's not right in the head? Why are you going to let him go from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, all the way to the Bahamas, all the way to a foreign country, when you know he's not right in the head by himself? If that's really true, then you're partially to blame too for all this, because there's no way that you just let him go by himself if you know he's not mentally stable. And it just sucks how all these people came to the Bahamas on vacation and they ended up getting murdered. A high school girl went on a field trip to the Bahamas and she died. She got murdered on a field trip to the Bahamas. Like, imagine being the parents sending your high school daughter on a trip to the Bahamas and you get a call from the school saying she got killed. Like, what? That's crazy. That's just crazy. This was a very unique story because the Bahamas doesn't have a lot of serial killers. This is one of the very few serial killers that the Bahamas actually had. Just, he really thought that, oh, God told me to kill these people. Like, come on, dude. Like, bro, come on, man. Just stop it. Please stop it. But rest in peace to all the victims in this story. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Thank you for all the support you guys give this channel. I really appreciate you guys. Leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Be safe. Stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.